Beef shank is probably still the cheapest cut in most areas, and it's also one of the most flavorful. So let's make some Russian stew. In this video, we'll cover two topics. One is the oblique cut for veggies, and the other is making sure that your pan is preheated enough so meat does not stick to it. For our ingredients, we have about a pound of beef shank, a can of tomato soup, onions, 2 potatoes, 1 carrot, and a piece of broccoli. These ingredients come out to be about $17, which is about $2 more expensive than it was a year ago. The biggest price increase is definitely from the increase in beef. It's about 30% more expensive nowadays. So in taking a weirdly shaped thing like a carrot or a potato, we're going to do this thing called an oblique cut, which is really cutting the carrot and then rotate at about a 45-degree angle and then rotating it 90 degrees with each cut. And so as we go, we're going to eyeball it and cut it at about the same width each side so that you're resulting in pretty uniformly sized cuts. And with these really sharp angles that are happening here, what's really going to be super awesome for the stew is that those sharp edges are going to dissolve into the stew and make it all the more yummy and thick. Here's a demonstration with the russet potato. In terms of how thick you want to cut the potatoes and the carrots, it's really up to you. Do you like thicker chunks and you don't mind cooking it for a little while longer? Or are you pressed for time and you need everything to be cooked pretty fast? I cut mine pretty thin because I really like it when the potato dissolves into the soup. It makes it super hearty. For the broccoli, I'm just going to snap off each of the little pieces of broccoli, and then I'm going to chop off the thick skin off of the stem and still chop the stem so to put it into the soup. Because we're really just cooking the meat until it's tender, which can take about 2 hours. So the broccoli is going to become extremely mushy, which is the way I like it, like a broccoli and cheddar soup. And just for the onion, we're just going to coarsely chop it. So now that everything's prepared, it's time to start cooking. So I have a pretty large skillet that I have preheating on the stove at medium heat. And this is a pretty important step to preheat your stainless steel pan. This is absolutely critical in ensuring that meat will not stick. So when I drop some water in there, you see the little beads of water just dancing around and not really evaporating that fast. That's when you know that the pan is ready. And so we're going to crank the heat up to high, and then we're going to drop in our shanks and sear both sides about 2 minutes each side. Now that we've removed the shanks, and now we're going to add in our veggies, and then we're going to add in this bit of splash of water to deglaze that meaty goodness off the pan. Using a wooden spoon, we're going to scrape the stuff, and the steam from the water is also going to help cook the veggies a little bit faster too. Now's the time to add our cheat ingredient, Campbell's tomato soup. And we're going to rinse that can out and dump it into the pan because that's how Mom taught us. And then we're going to stir the tomato sauce in with the rest of the veggies. And then it's going to allow the tomato sauce to caramelize a bit on the bottom of the pan, which is always a little bit nice. And then we'll put the shanks back on top. And then we're going to add water until the water just hits the meat. As the veggies cook, the meat will kind of sink in and braise in with the liquid, and we're going to bring this to a simmer and cook for 2 hours. Again, that is 2 hours. So after about 2 hours, you'll know that the soup is ready when you are able to readily pull the bone away from the meat with almost no effort whatsoever. Be sure to save that marrow for yourself, you deserve it. After removing the bones, I like to use a spatula to separate the meat into chunks and further kind of mix everything together so that you have this nice thick hearty stew. And there you go. This stew is hearty enough to be a meal in and of its own, and readily serves about 6 people. Aside from taking some time to chop up some veggies, there's really nothing to this dish. Hope you all like it.